Um, good, good. And then it's kind of like something that we have been using since the maybe the 9th century or more, you know? So it is a text that has been used from since the 9th century and is still usable or useful now. Because, especially for our time and age, we need structure. We like structure. We like things that make sense. We are kind of like, we don't have so much of these blind faith type of things, and we want to prove us. So the gradual path, it is this idea of step-by-step process of not only new ways of seeing how things work, right? Different perspectives from the way we have been living our lives, but especially they are sort of kind of meditations, if I can say like that. Okay? They are just simple meditations that will help us develop a wisdom that not only is an intellectual wisdom, but especially an experiential. Because Buddhism doesn't work with blind faith. It doesn't work. If I am here saying all of these things for you guys, and you guys can find it very nice, but if you don't apply to your own mind, it doesn't have any effect. Okay? It doesn't have any effect for your life. Maybe for me, it can have it, but each of us are responsible for using whatever we are learning, whatever we are contemplating, and wherever we are meditating on to transform our minds. So it's a path of transformation. That's what it is. And what we are trying to transform, mainly our motivation, our intention. That's mainly what we are trying to transform, right? Why? Why we are trying to transform that? Because if we think about it, what we have right here and right now, our intention, our autopilot, is that what we call autopilot? Yes, it's selfish, only thinking about me, 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 me. And it's constantly has a methodology. I'm using these words. I don't know if it's a good word, but I'm loving to use it. I'm finding it very good. A methodology that says, I want to be happy and I don't want to suffer. And the way I'm looking for that happiness and that the absence of suffering is going outside, okay, and looking for kind of like things that are immediately giving me some sort of very short-term pleasures. That's how I'm doing now. So I'm thinking about myself only, and I'm looking for external things, either things that I like to hear, good smells, things that I like to taste, things that I like to touch, and things that I like to see, right? As ways to bring me to that happiness and to this absence of suffering. That is the kind of like the autopilot. So Lamrim, it's a way to transform it from that mindset that where we are at to something completely different, which is the opposite. So that means an altruistic mindset, right? It's the opposite of a selfish and an egoistic type of mindset. So an altruistic mindset, but not only just like, oh yes, I'm very kind, to Hannah because Hannah gave me very nice fruits and I'm very happy with that. Not like that. It's actually towards all beings. That word is so important. All beings. Why? Because then our life starts to become a completely different game. Because right now, our lives is dependent on you're nice to me, I'm gonna be nice to you. You're not nice to me, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't it? So the transformation of that wish to benefit others, to help others, it's about all. Okay? This altruistic mind. But then, okay, so I'm gonna start thinking only about myself and I'm gonna start thinking about others and how to help them to be happy and not suffer. However, I don't know. Right? Other part of my other autopilot is that the other one is that I'm just looking for ways to find happiness outside. Therefore, I don't know. I don't know how to find happiness for myself. So how can I help others how to be happy? That is the problem right now. So we need to develop not only an altruistic, compassionate mindset, but I need the wisdom to know how to achieve not only pleasures, temporary external types of pleasures, but a type of happiness that is always present within oneself. So it doesn't matter if I am in Hawaii or if I am in rainy Florida, same, right? Or if I am with someone or if I am alone, or if I have the newest car or if I have the oldest car, if I'm having burrito in Casamaya or not having burrito in Casamaya, right? So that is the potential of our minds and our existence and our experiences to live from that happiness. So remember our friend on Sunday here who was sitting here, visualizing her here. She's not here now, but she asked, but what type of happiness is that? And I said, it's that type of happiness that is not depending on external things, but it just arises because you feel contentment. You feel happy because of someone else's happiness. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to buy anything or, get any kind of like change or anything. You just rejoice, be happy because of happiness of others. So that proves that we have this potential, that we have that capability. The problem is that it's just very, very small, very shorter, right? It just like goes away, goes away. We not stabilize it. So that is what it is about the path to enlightenment, the transformation of these two mindsets. Okay. And for that, we need to understand, and I'm so sorry for the new people, but today I was planning to talk about the essence of the entire path. So you guys are very lucky because we're going to kind of like talk about something that is the most important understanding of the Buddhist philosophy. Okay, so I'm going to try my best to make it accessible. Okay, so if you have doubts, just ask, but also if you don't get it, don't give up. Okay, just kind of like say, okay, it's the first time I'm listening to it, maybe I can kind of like, I always say, put it on the shelf over there, park it, and then you come back every once in a while to make sure if it makes sense. So why, how do we get to actually transform these two mindsets? More than that is that why, if we're going to ask ourselves, why our mindsets are, our intention is based on self-cherishing and always pleasures outside, looking for short terms. Why? If we have to ask, why is like that? Because you all agreed with me when I state that that is the way we are. So why is that?
What we've learned.
From whom? Who taught us that?
Society and family homes,
Mhm.
school.
Definitely, but who taught them?
That goes way back.
So
It's easier.
if I go like that, then it's gonna have a moment or a time that there was nothing, there was not this wrong view, and then something appeared. Then suddenly I started to become selfish. Is that a moment? Can I pinpoint
Process.
what that does it mean?
It's a process of things happening. Like, you get electricity.
Mhm.
We get used to having something right now. And then we say, oh, I want more.
But do you think that there was a moment when this was not there, and then suddenly that process started to happen? Or, as you said, which I really like that word process, it's always been there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember a moment of you that maybe this was not there? Hmm. That is the Buddhist assumption, that it's always been there. Why? Because if I would have to say that there is a beginning, I would have to say that there is a moment of hearing, let's say like that, and then this started, and then this is gonna end. Buddhist doesn't say like that. Just says that actually it's a process, and this process has been going on since beginningless times. No beginning. Why? Because if you think about it, that is so difficult, because that's why I was talking that might feel sometimes a little bit loose, some of these topics, because we talked about the continuity of the mind, that the mind continues from one life to another to another. There's no stopping, right? The body goes away, but the mind just continues. So if I say that there was that continuity, right? That continuity that exists now has a beginning. But what is the cause of this beginning? So I'm saying the Buddhist logic for explaining that is that if I say that there was nothing and then suddenly something started, I am saying that there is something without a cause. You understand what that means? And this is exactly what all now the new studies about the universe are starting to talk about the Big Bang. The Big Bang is just one Big Bang. What does it mean? Well, that before that, there was another Big Bang. And there's another one. And there's another one. Infinitum. That goes the mind a bit like, isn't it? That idea.
Well, that's, I think, one of the hardest concepts in Buddhism. I mean, that's why all societies worldwide have creation myths, because people can't.
We can't kind of like conceive that idea, but we can experience it through meditation. That is important. That we can experience. Because time is just a mental creation, isn't it? Actually, you can start to observe that. Think about it, you know? For an animal, they don't have the same concept of time as us, right? A mosquito, if I'm not mistaken, it lives for 24 hours or 48 hours. That's it. But for them, it's an entire life. Isn't it? So that concept of time, it is depending on our assumptions and understanding. So our um how can I put it, conditioned understanding and belief. So what Buddhism is talking about here is that complete complete absence of that limitation, that things have existed like that and will continue. So it's going to continue forever. Ta-da! That's what Buddhism is about. Buddhism is not about discussing how was the creation of the universe and all of that. Well, they have a lot of texts about that, but that's not the goal, right? The goal is to understand that, okay, what is my present situation? Yes, I am in a situation where if I look, I am thinking only about myself 99.99999% of the time. And I am slave of these constant looking for, ways to find happiness outside, isn't it? Just think about it. That's our lives. We wake up thinking, I want a coffee. I want a coffee like that and like this. I want this. I want raisins in my porridge. I want, kind of like the aircon to be working. And then that's it. I just want comfort and making sure that I just feel the senses fulfilled, isn't it? But all of that kind of like I idea of just thinking about me and just wanting the pleasures outside external short-term pleasures be my happiness is because of a wrong view, a wrong understanding how things exist. Big word, big phrase. What does it mean, right? The idea of Buddhism will talk about what we call the true truths. What does it mean? It means that existence has two truths, two ways. Let's call it like this. There is a way that things appear to us and the way they exist. Does it make sense?
Relative truth and the absolute truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you guys studied Buddhism before?
Studied yoga.
Yeah,
Taught
very
yoga
good.
to veterans.
Yes, very good. It's very similar, but it's a bit different. So we're going to talk about that. Very good. This is exactly what Buddha was talking about. Buddha was talking about that if we don't understand these two truths, which is actually two sides of the same coin, it's not that there's two realities. There's one reality that can be seen in two ways, a conventional and an absolute truth. Or another way that they call it is a, ultimate, yes, ultimate truth, absolute truth. And a conventional truth can also be, I saw it a definition, translation that Thubten Jinpa, one of his holiness translators, he called it veils truth.
Veiled.
Veiled truth. The veiled truth, the conventional truth. Okay? So why it is important for us to understand that? Why it is important to actually talk about that? Well, because we just said that we want to transform our motivation into one that is an altruistic one. To do that, we need to understand conventional truth. Okay? And we're going to talk about why we need to do that. But just for us to make very simple, a selfish motivation, it's a motivation that is independent. No, it's me, just me. I'm independent of everything. An altruistic motivation, which is in accordance with conventional truth, sees everything interdependent. We are dependent on others. Okay? That is already one aspect of it. Second, the absolute truth. The absolute truth is going to help us with these wrong views that actually see things as outside being the source and being able to make us happy. So that's why we need to understand both of them in order to achieve what we call enlightenment, what we call this state of no more suffering based on these wrong views, this not understanding of absolutely truth, ultimate truth, and by developing our qualities so we can be altruistic and help others. Makes sense? You guys having very good faces today. I'm having fun. That's normal. It is. So it is important that we understand, right? I'm going to try to go slowly in the conventional truth so we can go into a deeper understanding. But conventional truth is everything that is dependent on cause and effect. Simple. That's easy. No? A seed, everything that we eat, everything that we kind of like wear, everything is conditional, causal. There's a cause, right? That's easy to understand. So that means that everything that exists is dependent on something else to exist. So that's why we were talking about that if we say that there is a moment that it didn't exist in the ignorance, and then suddenly there was a moment of ignorance, we are saying that ignorance doesn't have a cause. And if we are saying that ignorance or this wrong view of not understanding reality as it is doesn't have a cause, then we cannot eliminate it. So we cannot achieve enlightenment. Does it make sense? What I just said?
Can you repeat it?
Yes. I think I can. People online, are you okay over there? Yes. So what does it mean? It means that if ignorance, this wrong view of how things appear and how things really are, if this was not there, and suddenly it appeared, I am saying that this wrong view doesn't have a cause, right? And if it doesn't have a cause, I cannot eliminate it, because I can only eliminate something that has a cause. Because if something doesn't have a cause, it is self-existing. That is the opposite of having a cause. Makes sense? That's so important that we discuss that.
So you're saying that ignorance is permanent?
No, the opposite. I'm saying that ignorance is causal.
Right, but
If it was
I thought you were talking about the origination of wrong view.
so that's what I'm saying to him. I'm saying to him that if ignorance would not have a cause, I could not eliminate it, right?
Right.
Because that is why I'm saying that it is beginningless.
Oh.
Do you understand?
Okay, yes.
Beginningless. Because if there was a beginning, I would say that there was a moment without it, and without any cause, it was created. And that it would mean that I cannot eliminate it. Then that is important to understand what cause and effect means. Cause and effect means that there is a cause, we'll have a result. The opposite of cause and effect means something is self-existent, right? It exists without any cause. Like a tree, if I would say, oh no, a tree doesn't exist, without anything. It's just pops in there. That's why one of the I love this phrase, from a beautiful text from Lama Tsongkhapa, the founder of our,
Over here.
where?
Over
There, over there,
Yellow hat.
the yellow hat. He wrote a beautiful text in the 14th century that is called Praise for Dependent Origination. Praise
In praise of.
praise of dependent origination. And he used to say, there is no such thing as a flower in the sky. Simple. Simple. That proves that things have to have a cause. If not, we could have a flower in the sky, right? So it's so important that we understand that the way things, if they were not cause and effect, they would be completely self-sufficient, self-existent, autonomous in that way of, autonomous is hard because all these words, they bring us some other concepts, right? But autonomous in the way that I'm independent of anything or any cause for it to exist. If things would exist like that, then we would not be able to eliminate them because they would have those characteristics and their way of being, and will always continue to be like that. So far, so good, Bob?
I'm following.
Yeah, okay. So then, that is the difference, the problem that we have, the creator of all our problems in the entire world, from all the suffering that we suffer ourselves, all the economical problems, all of the social problems, all of the environmental problems, all the wars, all of it comes from what? Not understanding that the way things appear and the way they are is different. Why? Because the way things are is that they are causal. The way they appear to us, they appear autonomous, independent.
Why is that the cause of all trouble?
Why is that the cause of all trouble? That's a very good question.
Find something that isn't.
Because the moment I think that this is independent, or that this is the quality of it, that it is permanent like that this is autonomous and I don't want to use the normal words, but inherently existent, right? Existing in this way, existing from its own side, I project, okay, that existence, and therefore I don't think in cause and effect. I don't think that they can be changed. So what do? I create that grasp to that wrong view. I grasp to that wrong view as being reality. So if that is reality, I need to defend whatever I'm seeing, that it is seen to me as good, as nice, as delicious, as whatever, to have it, because it is in that, in the qualities, let's say like that, of the object, of the experience, of all of that. You understand? So that grasping to that wrong view creates that misunderstanding that this is the essence or the source of my experience. We believe in that. We believe that this is the source, right? I believe that water by its own side, by its own qualities, is refreshing. I don't think in any moment that is simply a cause and effect relationship, because I'm hot, because I have a body, because I'm hot and all of that, and the water has a certain molecules, and that experience, I label it refreshing. It's a label into a cause and effect relationship, and stops there. It doesn't create in the water a refreshingness. Does it make sense what I'm doing? Refreshingness? It doesn't create. When I label the name Kalden into this body, into this mind, I don't create a Kalden, an inherently self-existing Kalden. I'm just labeling two aspects, which is a body and a mind, which are cause and effect, and therefore changing into something existent. So the moment I see that, I believe that there is an inherent, a third, almost existing Kalden, out like more than just cause and effect changing situation, I grasp to it as being truth, as being the truth. So then I'm going to protect, I'm going to feed, I'm going to do everything at once. And everything that is a harm to this wrong view, I want it very far away from me. Does it make sense?
Complicated, or
That's a good word.
or are you saying that the truth is the absolute?
No, I'm saying that they are complementary. I'm saying that because things exist through cause and effect, they cannot exist in an ultimate inherent way.
Right.
That's
Where
it.
does the truth fall in that? Where does the truth lie in that?
There's two.
There is, they are the same, the two coins are the same, of the same side. So if we're going to use from an absolute truth, I'm going to say what? I'm going to say that every object, every situation, and even every experience, and even myself, I am empty of existing in a completely autonomous, independent way.
So nothing exists in a completely autonomous way.
That's it. Yeah, and it's not that nothing exists, dot.
No, in a completely
In a
autonomous
completely
way.
autonomous way. Good. That is the ultimate absolute truth, according to Buddhism. And how do we prove that this is true? By observing conventional reality, which shows to us in our daily lives that everything is causal. Right? It's just there. And things can only happen because they are causal. Because they depend on cause and conditions, they cannot exist in an autonomous, independent way. Because if they would, then they would not have a cause. Make sense? Okay, that's it. You guys can go home. That's it.
That's all you need to get. Right?
That's all you need. So, sorry?
We need to come back.
If you go then and meditate 24/7 on that, then no need.
Which we'll have an opportunity to do. There'll be a commercial at the end of the class.
Exactly. So why it is so important that we understand that. Okay, first is because by understanding the true truths, we start to just understand daily life. So we're not gonna kind of like be so desperate as we are right now that things seem to happen without a cause for us, right? Like I just burned myself, right? It was without a cause. And there's no cause for that. Well, there was a hot water, right? There was a hot water, there was a table, there was a kind of like a place, there was a body, there was a, no, there's many causes that made that situation happen, right? But in our minds, we don't think like that. We forget that conventionality, we forget that reality, and we just keep on, it hurted me because I'm seeing myself with such a strong idea, a solid idea, instead of just understanding that there was a body and a mind, okay? That these cause and effect relationship with the hot water happened. So hard. It's just so hard for us to have that space to see that this self-substantial existing, right? Self-existing type of me and I, it's nothing more than causes and conditions coming together, a body that we all know. It's easy to see the body, right? The body's cause and effect, easy. Depends on mom and dad coming together, egg, sperm, no? The, how do you say that? The ovulate, no, and then it gets, yeah, the egg, no?
Yeah.
The egg and the sperm, then, goes, and then it multiplies because the mother is getting through the, the umbilical cord. So that is the cause and effect, and it starts to multiply, and all the vitamins and all of that, and then we come out and we continue depending on the milk, and then the sun, and then this, and then that. There's the body, just matter, right? Easy to see cause and effect. The mind thing, the mind is just cause and effect. If it was not cause and effect, then every time you go to sleep, you would erase everything and then come back and nothing's there, right? Or the present moment, I would not remember what I just did. Every moment would be a new moment, a new moment, a new moment, which is, but it's a new moment based on, influenced by, coming with everything that was done in the past. That's why there's past, present, and future. There's a continuity of that. Does it make sense? Yes? This is so important because if I don't understand that, how can I transform my mind into an altruistic mindset? If I don't understand cause and effect. If I don't understand cause and effect, I will never realize that being selfish and only thinking about me only brings me suffering. Why? Because if you have a friend, or if you have yourself or your partner just thinking about me, you are tired of this person in 5 minutes, right? So you don't want this person close to you. You don't want to help this person. You don't want anything. You don't want this person close to you. And guess what? We are dependent on others for food, for everything that we want. And even feeling good with ourselves, loving people. No? We need others. So if we don't understand that cause and effect, that kind of like how things exist, then we can never transform our minds. Why? Because understanding cause and effect, we start to understand how the interdependence works, which is the basis for developing compassion. Understanding that there is an equanimity. We are all equal in wanting to be happy and not suffer, which is cause and effect, right? And from that equanimity, from that understanding that we all want to be happy, knowing that what I can do to help others to be happy, the causes to help others. You understand? It's just like it's the basis of our life, cause and effect. So now I can go a little bit then deeper about what cause and effect can be, okay, or conventional truth. Any questions online? I didn't ask you guys. No? All good? Maria got everything, right? Everything, yeah? Okay.
Just realized empty.
Exactly. So there is three ways, let's call it like that, a cause and effect can be explained. Okay? There's another word for cause and effect. It's called dependent arising. Things to arise in our minds depend on things. Okay? So the first one is the simple cause and effect relationship that we are talking about, right? Seed needs, nourishment and all of that for a plant, body, the mind, easy, cause and effect. Then the second thing is things exist from parts of, or off parts. I don't know the word. Yeah, off
Composed of parts.
composed of parts, by parts. I don't know what it is. By parts.
Everything's made of parts.
Everything, yes, good. Everything is made of parts. It's true. Now we're gonna do.
Parts.
I don't have my flower. I used to have a flower here.
You want to flower?
If I destroy, if I throw this glass on the floor, and then we have many small pieces. Yeah. Which of these pieces is the glass? Is there any piece of these hundreds of pieces that was broken that is the glass? That is good in English. We can use that. The glass. Is it? Or is the parts coming together and being able to hold water being a valid basis for me to call it a glass? Confusing or okay? Anna? Good? Yes?
Better.
Better? Yes. So,
We could put flowers in it and then it's a vase.
exactly. So that means that it is important that when we are talking about parts and when we're talking about the ways of existing, there's not that there is nothing there. There is. There is a bunch of parts, right, coming together. Which are those parts? Well, the glass, and then all the components, sand, no, warmth, sand, yeah. How to
Sand
make
and
a
heat.
glass?
Heat and sand.
Heat and sand and all of these. And how the heat comes? Also because of components, right? Also, like there has to be whatever it is to heat it and all of that. So all things, this cause and effect have parts. So there's only one cause. That is very easy for us to see. Think about it. When we think about economical problems, there's only one problem? No, several things, several causes, several parts that make that situation happen. I don't know if they have this expression in English, but you say there's if there's a fight, it has to have two, because nobody fights, nobody takes two to fight it. Tango. I like it. Yes. No. So that explains already that there are parts, components, and that coming together then has the subtlest way of dependent arising, which is for it to appear to arise has to have a mind, a consciousness. To do what? Label it.
What?
Label. To label. So the definition of how things exist is that things exist due to cause and effect and to parts and being merely labeled by the mind. Why is important the merely? It means that the mind is simply only labeling it. It's not creating something else. It's not making something else appears on top of that basis, which is condition, causal, and parts. Understand? But that's exactly the opposite of how we live. We believe that there is a glass here, that something in here is a glass, an existing, self-existing glass. Because I believe in that, when it breaks, I get mad. If I understand that this is causes and conditions coming together, made of parts, and that this has the nature of breaking. If it breaks, it breaks, because it's nature to break. Right? Does it make sense? Are we kind of like trying to understand the usefulness of understanding that? Because otherwise, we're going to continue living this completely deluded and impossible way. We live in a way that is impossible to exist. We believe that how things appear to us, because they exist inherently self-sufficient, autonomous, as something more than just a label, we believe that this is truth. All our problems come. So what is Buddhism to talk about? Actually, just undoing that wrong view. That's it. That's mainly what it is about. So the more I see it there, the more I understand cause and effect. The more I understand cause and effect, the more I can actually use my body, my life, my speech to actually help others. Because I understand cause and effect. I understand that the way things exist, and therefore I can influence what I can actually influence. No, there's this 7th century scholar or philosopher called Shantideva, and he used to say, if a problem has a solution, do something about it. Right? Don't just worrying and say, oh yes, this problem, I don't know what to do. Oh, there's a solution. Oh, just do it. Right? Cause and effect. There's a solution. Create the causes for the solution to arise. If the problem doesn't have a solution, then worrying and not understanding it, pretending, oh my God, I don't know, that doesn't work. So that is how it can be so important. It's like freeing, literally freeing our mind. That's why we call it liberation. What is liberation in Buddhism? Which is not enlightenment, different. What is nirvana in Buddhism?
Realizing it.
Yes, is realizing how things are. Just that. How realizing that difference, that the way things are appearing to me and the way that they exist ultimately, totally different. So I'm bringing more and more and more and more my mind towards reality, the way things exist. And the more I approach that, the happier I become. And the more I can do to help others. So it's so important. Right? So if I need to understand these two aspects, I need to understand the conventional truth and the ultimate truth, so I can achieve enlightenment. I cannot do without the other. Bob, you're going to ask something?
So you're saying that it's the transformation of the cause.
It's an elimination of the cause.
Elimination or the transformation?
Elimination. I eliminate. Look at how strange might sound what I'm going to say now. If I eliminate the cause of ignorance, of this wrong view, so that means if I eliminate that idea that what is appearing to me inherent and autonomous, if I eliminate that appearance, okay, I eliminate that appearance, and I just stay with reality, there's no mode of existing or possibility of suffering to arise. So when I eliminate that completely, is the experience of elimination of that becomes, let's say, permanent, because it never comes back. Because once I eliminated that wrong view, that's it. I don't see the wrong view anymore.
But how does eliminating the wrong view where I'm not living in the absolute.
You are though, once you've eliminated the wrong view, you are living with that.
You are living in the absolute and the conventional. You're living the way, the reality, as in harmony with these two sides of reality.
But is there harmony in the absolute?
There's what harmony?
Is there harmony in the absolute?
Harmony in the way of that is just as it's just what it is.
But you're saying that last is the last, and you're saying that last is now cause and effect of all the parts.
So if I see it like this, if I perceive things in this way, then it's just that. I'm just seeing things as they are. I'm not seeing them in a different way that they are not. That's what it means to realize the absolute. It's not that I change my way of seeing the glass, or in the way of like the glass transforms into an hologram or whatever. It's just I just see the glass is empty of an autonomous way of existing.
Maybe another good synonym for seeing is understanding how things.
Realizing.
Yeah.
It's a better, even better.
Yes.
And realization of that. A realization means is something that there is no, let's say, thinking. There's no that need to analyze it. It is. Right? So we are now realized in ignorance. We don't need to think, we don't need to do anything. It appears like this already. Right? It just appears. So that's why it's so hard for us to actually realize it, because it's our reality. So the Buddha is saying to you, your reality, the way you experience it right now, which is completely your experience, it's wrong, it's mistaken. So you're like, what do you mean it's mistaken? And then you need to understand the true truths to see where is the mistake. So how does the Four Noble Truths and the Two Noble Truths come together? Let's say that the Buddha, 2,600 years ago, what he realized was the true truth. That's what he realized. Okay? He lived, he experienced the true truth without any intellectual understanding, without any kind of like, confusion, any wrong appearance. He was just experiencing directly the true truth. And then he said, oh man, how I'm going to explain these to people? So he said, I don't know if I can. Then there was these 5 monks who he has to study before with another teacher that came to him and say, wow, you look amazing. You look like shining, like you have that presence that is just looking at you and makes me, feel happiness. Please teach us the way. But then he taught the Four Noble Truths, which are the, I use the word here when I was writing. It's the methodology. Just that. So the Four Noble Truths is like the means, or the way, the methodology to achieve the true truth, to realize the true truth. So that is why we talk about, when we are talking about the two wings that will bring us to enlightenment, the wisdom and the method. What we are talking about? We are talking about, through understanding, studying the method, part of the practice, we are developing the understanding of the conventional truth. When I'm understanding and realizing and studying the wisdom aspects, I'm understanding the absolute truth. So that's why we call method, or when we call about wisdom and compassion, we are talking about that. We are talking compassion is as if it was, let's say like that, conventional truth. It's understanding how conventional truth exists or works or, happens, it is the basis of compassion. And understanding how things do not exist in an inherent, independent, impossible way of existing, it is the wisdom part. Right? That is so important. It's the basis of these two things. So the word I used was the Four Noble Truths of the framework instead of methodology, the framework for developing and understanding the two truths. Does it make sense? So, any questions? Yes, Alex.
Many questions.
Many questions. Very good. Save me.
I would like to combine with the physics, right?
Physics, yes, very good.
So there is an experiment about the electron that only appears when it's measured. That's the experiment.
Okay.
So you'll have to see question.
Yeah, maybe speak a bit louder. Can you hear Alex? Deb, no? Yeah. Okay.
You have to speak up. It's talking about electrons.
He's talking about the electrons. Look, there you go. You look at
There is an experiment about electrons that they only appear when they are measured. That is the experiment that is around for 100 years. But for this point, the question is if the observer has an active role. For example, you were explaining a glass, then Rebecca said, no, that's not a glass, that's a vase for flowers. So the observer has like an active role.
On a conventional reality, yes. Right? But why? Because it is, what does it need for me to see it as a glass? Three things. An object, how it is this object, parts, and cause and effect. Okay? The glass. We just decided or said how the glass works with heat and this and that. So I need all of those things, put it in this shape for it to be here. Okay? I need the action or the act of seeing the glass. Yeah? And I need a mind to label it as a glass. Okay? So these three things are cause and effect in between themselves and by themselves. For example, in Portuguese, this is called copo, right? So the mind that is creating the glass or the copo is dependent on me, my mind, which is dependent. But for you, it's going to be a different experience. So conventionally, yes, but absolutely, if we are observing, investigating the way it is existed in an absolute way, we all gonna find the same. We all gonna find the same interpretation or understanding, which is, even though if you investigate the essential nature of it, it does not have an inherent way of existing. So the absolutely nature is always depending on understanding that the mode of existing is empty of, completely empty of an impossible way of existing. Just the glass? No. The action of seeing and the mind as well. So that means that in an absolute sense, the true nature of everything is exactly the same. But in a conventional way, the subject is one of the parts that will influence, right? Or that will affect that interdependence of the other experience of seeing the glass. Does it make sense? It's a bit complicated, but it's like it's okay. Let me put it in simple words. Is that if there is someone here, a Chinese person that comes here, I don't know why I say Chinese, but a Chinese person comes, for him, we are talking about glass, but he doesn't speak English. So for him, there's no glass in this room. You understand what I'm saying? If I have no idea what a electron is, I can be observing it and it's not there. Do you understand what I mean? So in that conventional way, yes. But if I am going to analyze the essential, the absolutely ultimate nature of the electron, or that whatever it is that I am observing, I'm going to come to the conclusion that there is no inherent existing way, autonomous way of existing. That my own mind, the action of seeing, the glass, the computer, the experience, everything, always the same. So that's why it's absolute. No, absolute means that no, and everybody like that. Absolute no. Yeah, that feeling. Does it make sense? Does it help? Makes more complete. Any other questions?
Is absolute truth considered universal truth? Or is universal truth more like conventional?
I would say the universal truth is more conventional. It's not an absolute truth because the absolute truth is really, it's a specific, for Buddhism, is a specific thing, which is the emptiness or the absence of an inherently way of existing. Why? Because things can only exist in that way. If they were self-sufficient, they could not exist by causes and conditions, which is the way that they exist conventionally.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to. So
There is
even a Buddhist is gonna look at that glass and say it's a glass. They're not gonna look at it,
so that's
and
conventionally.
let me ask you, they're not gonna look at it in a different way just because they know there are all these other components,
No, I'm
right?
still gonna call it a glass. Yes, but this is the conventional truth. Because I need a conventionality, a way of saying how these causes and conditions being in this specific format and being able to put water for you and me to communicate, I need to call it a glass. But it's a simple label into that process.
Okay, so but
Make sense?
how does that be interpreted in how we look at people? Like how,
Yeah, that's very good. No, that's very good because right now the way I look people is that for example, you have a very good friend, okay? You had many good times with this friend, and you know so many amazing times, and you're so good friend, and this is such a nice person, and all of that, and it's just a very good experience. Then this person, this friend, starts screaming and shouting at you. You immediately react, no, with anger, right? It's like, why they are talking like this to me? So what is anger doing? Anger is projecting into that person, which is a very nice person, has done many nice things. In that moment, I'm projecting and seeing that person as a fixed bad person, right? And the only way that I can be projecting this in this way is because I am not seeing the true nature of this person, which is the conventional nature. I already forget. I'm not even seeing the conventional nature. I'm not talking about not even the absolute first, but I'm just talking about the conventional nature. What is the conventional nature? Maybe this person is in a bad mood because they had a difficult time at work. Maybe something happened. Maybe something is going on with them. All of those causes and conditions that might have caused that person to scream at me. I forget in that moment, right? I'm not thinking about that. Only if I make an effort to try and say, wait a minute, I remember that they told me that they were going on through something at work and things like that, right? I need to make an effort to get out of that immediate reaction of being angry and projecting that this person is a bad person. I need to make it to make me think and analyze that, well, maybe this person is not because of this and that. Maybe there's nothing to do with me. Maybe I just something that triggered them, blah, blah, blah.
And
Right?
that reasoning is conventional.
Conventional truth. Okay? So this is the conventional truth understanding. If I want to see the absolute truth, I'm going to look for the emptiness of the mode of existing in the three aspects. I'm going to look at this person and say, wait a minute, look at this person. I'm seeing that this person as something fixed, as something in self-existing, and not just a bunch of cause and effects coming together and me labeling this person, right? First. Second, I'm looking at this sound coming to my mind and literally not seeing it as just cause and effect, and I'm believing that this is happening inherently. That means that that sound is inherently in this way. And third, I'm going to talk about myself, the way I see myself. I see myself as actually a bunch of cause and conditions, a bunch of a group, no, the body and the mind coming together and merely labeling as I. I don't see it like this. I see it as a self-substantial, existing, autonomous me that has a specific characteristic, a specific way of existing, a way of behaving, a way of being, and everything that is going against this belief is wrong. That's why I'm getting pissed off because this person is screaming at me.
But all of the conventional, like you were explaining the conventional way, like, okay, this person had a bad day, something difficult, that or all of those things are coming out of like compassion and understanding, right? Okay.
Which are minds that are much more in reality with conventional truth. Because I understand that it's true. Wait a minute, this person, because they don't see things, they are triggered because of their lives and because of that and because of the. So I just start to kind of like see the cause and effect relationship.
I don't get that, because to me, seeing this person as not labeling this person as a bad person, because I'm thinking of all these other things that I know about the person and right, and acting with compassion towards that person, to me, that seems on a higher level than conventional.
But it is in a higher level inside of conventional truth. Let's call it like that. Okay? Why? Because in absolute truth, there is no such thing as inherently good or inherently bad. There's only
Right.
conventional good or bad, right? So I am just changing that experience of conventional bad that I am seeing that person, because what it makes something like, why I can say, so I can say that this is bigger than that. I have to have that. If I just say this is bigger, right? You're gonna say
Right.
bigger than what? Right?
Right.
So it's the same thing with the friend. I can only say that this friend is bad if I have a reference point, as I like to call it. Right? So what is the reference point that you're using to make it say bad?
Oh,
Me.
conventional.
How they are treating me, right?
And
Isn't
then,
it?
The absolute truth never changes.
The absolute truth never.
Conventional truth changes it's dependent on
It's
who's looking at it.
dependent on.
Perspective,
Conventional
yeah.
truth is dependent on. So You know, that is what is kind of like what that's why it's called relative truth as well. It's
Yeah.
in relation of, right? That's what relative means, right? So in relation to something, I am using that label, this or that, but it's just a label. It doesn't interfere in the absolutely nature of that person or that situation. That doesn't change because I'm putting a label.
Okay, so,
Yes.
so tell me the other side now, the ultimate truth, what is it?
So the ultimate truth means that in the ultimate truth of analyzing that person doesn't exist in an autonomous, self-existing way, either bad or good or in any way. It's just existing by causes and conditions, and therefore being labeled good or bad in relation to the situation. Otherwise, I was going to say, oh, then you're saying that there's no good or bad. No, there is in relation to a conventionality. So in relation to certain situations. So difficult for us to understand because we go to the two extremes. Either we think there's nothing there, or there is something self-existing there that doesn't change. So conventionality means that it depends on the circumstances and the conditions for me to label these bigger or smaller, right? Because these can be here, and I can say it's taller than that, right?
Mhm.
So it doesn't alters the ultimate nature of that situation. So, for example, if we put like Bob and Jack side by side, and we say, okay, Bob is higher, is taller than Jack. Okay, then I bring Alex. So then I say Bob is shorter than Alex. So what is Bob? Taller or shorter?
Yes.
So what is he? Is he shorter or taller? What is his
Label.
label or characteristic? It depends. It depends on. No, that's the answer. It depends, right? It depends.
Yeah.
So if it depends, it means that he doesn't have that characteristic inherently. Inherently means he doesn't have it from his own side. I like that expression as well, right? Because if he had that tall or short characteristic inherent, then he could never, I could never, let's say that he's short, no inherent. Then I could never, even if he would be close to Alex, I would have to say he's short. Or to Jack, I would have to say he's short. And he's not, because he's dependent. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
You didn't do prayers.
Oh,
Bloody God.
So is that inherently bad?
It's inherently bad. Definitely inherently bad. Nothing to do. I can never change. Okay.
I think that so much merit has been created just trying to
I also think
get our heads around
and
this.
especially I think that we created an idea of developing a good intention, which is that if we understand that, wow, it's just that. Honestly, if you need to want to kind of like practice Buddhism, just practice understanding these two things. Of course, in order to develop that, you need to develop other aspects of the Buddhist kind of like philosophy so it can make sense and you can make it that mind becomes like subtle, the subtle understanding of it, right? Because right now, what doesn't allow us to do that is that because we are constantly being triggered by this anger, attachment, and all of that. So if we are always like this, it's so hard for us to just think about convention or ultimate truth, right? So what we need to do is that we need to, the method side is to help us pacify that mind, that is constantly being triggered, so we can have the directness and the space, the kind of like the wisdom to penetrate that truth, to understand that absolute truth. That is why we cannot have, and the more we study about ultimate truth and conventional truth, the more we subdue these. So it goes hand by hand, right? It goes one bringing to the other. Okay, so this was the first talk of hundreds of millions and times that you guys gonna have to hear that. Now you just keep studying and thinking about it for a couple of maybe some eons of lifetimes, some 100 lifetimes, and that's okay. But that's the idea. It doesn't come because it's so ingrained in our minds the way we perceive things, right? Even in our daily life, don't think about convention. Just if someone says to you, but really? I didn't understand in this way. You're in a situation, you and a friend, and there's a third friend, and someone says something, and then you come out of this situation and you say, did you see what they meant? Like, did you hear what they said to me? You're like, no. Right? And then the person comes and says to you, I didn't understand in this way at all.
Yeah.
You understand? That is a proof that what we are perceiving is completely an idea of our mind. A hallucination. And then we're going to see that it is more than a hallucination. It's a habitual hallucination. That we are completely stuck in these habits again and again and again and again and again. That's why understanding karma is so important to understand cause and effect and dependent arising. Because karma is just mainly that as well. Right? It's cause and effect. We're going to talk about cause. We're going to talk about that. Next weeks, we're going to start talking about the Four Noble Truths, and then the Four Noble Truths, we're going to talk about, the suffering, and then we're going to talk about the causes of suffering. And then the causes of suffering, we're going to talk about especially these two aspects. The manifested, as we call cause and effect, causes of suffering, which is the negative emotions, the disturbing emotions, and karma. But now you know why these two things, where these two things come from those wrong views, from these not understanding conventional and ultimate truth. That's why they are right. We're going to talk a little bit more after. Did we survive? Everybody alive? It's a bit mind-boggling, these is like a bit like I was teaching that once, and then the person was like really looking at me. This is very cool. Yes, that's exactly what it is. It actually takes a lot, honestly. I'm not saying that to kind of like make you guys feel wow special, but having us here on a Tuesday night in a place like with 400 million people in America, and we have here maybe 10, 12, 15 people thinking about this, is just incredible. If the world, if more and more people would just take the interest in maybe check that the way that they perceive things and the way they experience things might not be reality, might not be the right way, the world would be free. So honestly, right hand on the left shoulder, well done. Well done. Because that is a special. It's a special way. Because this is the transformation, everything. Because from that wrong understanding, it's why all the problems come. Greed only comes because I'm believing that there is me, myself inherently, so I need to protect it, right? That's why attachment, that's why anger, that's why my country, my idea, my view, my this, my that. There's a conventional country, yes, which is a group of people living together and sharing borders and a culture. That is the definition, okay, of a country. I remember my first law, international law teachings. What is a country? It means that people living together in a specific area with a specific culture, sharing a specific culture and language. That's it. That's what we label. That's it. Nothing else. We don't think like that, do we? Because it's my country and I need to defend it from everything. Okay? So thank you so, so much. So even though we didn't create a specific dedication, motivation, we're going to dedicate. And as I said, dedication means we are kind of like making sure that everything that we heard, everything that we kind of like contemplated, thought, discussed, doesn't go waste. Doesn't go to waste, doesn't go like, as no need to kind of like, oh, let's just forget it. No, let's try to create the causes for what we just learned to become the reality of us understanding true truth. That's it, right? So we need to start from here. We need to start by listening, contemplating, talking about it. So all of these might be the causes for us to understand the true truths and to understand it's our way to benefit others. The more we do that, the less we react, the less we bring suffering to others, the less we create problems, not only to the people around us, but in the entire world. If we become, the president of a place, of a country, or anything, we can use that understanding. Or we are working in a company, and we can decide if we understand the true truth, we might be able to benefit others. So dedicate for that. And we would not be here. I would not be able to even say a word about the true truth if it was not for the kindness of my teachers. All of us are here because, especially Lama Zopa, Lama Yeshe, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama have kept alive that understanding, but not only the intellectual understanding, but the realization, because we know the difference, we can see someone that understands this in a deeper way. So we ask for, especially His Holiness, to have a long and healthy life, continue teaching and showing us the path. And we ask for Lama Zopa Rinpoche to come back and continue also teaching us. And we dedicate for all of the resources for a place like Thubten Kalden to be fulfilled, to be met. So a place like that, on a Tuesday evening, more and more people can actually get these teachings and these understandings, and therefore be able to transform their own lives, achieve happiness, and help the world to be a better place. That's our goal. That's why it exists, this center. We dedicate for that. All right. Thank you so much.
Commercials.
Commercials.
I have commercials, or you have, do you want me
Yes,
to do
ma'am.
the commercials?
Oh, you can do it, the commercials.
Okay, so this Saturday, we have in person here, something that's not on the calendar. Yeah, Jack's putting it on the calendar, but we sent out an email today, and we're having from 4 to 6 p.m. here, the Death Cafe. All you ever wanted to know, but were afraid to ask about death. You can come, and we're going to have tea and some snacks. So that's this Saturday.
And I'm making a request and a plea
Yes.
for it to be online since I'll be in Toronto. And I heard it's not gonna be online.
Yes, I don't know if it works.
Oh,
Because it,
oh.
It's a kind of like we need to, it's a lot
I
of
hear you.
sharing,
Got it.
with the people,
Okay.
so it doesn't work so much.
Sorry.
Okay, and then we have the following Saturday, the 2nd, which if you are at all interested in practicing Buddhism, I highly recommend that you come. It's going to be the Nundros, or the preliminary practices, which are foundational in Buddhist practice. So
Yes, we're going to talk about, there's 9 preliminary practices in Tibetan Buddhism in the Gelug tradition. And we're going to talk about what is this? The preliminaries, they are mainly to develop 2 things: to decrease that self-cherishing and that kind of like wrong views, and to increase the positive qualities and these correct views. That's what it is for,
So that starts at 10 o'clock to 12:30. We'll have a lunch break. And then from 2 to 4:30, we'll finish up. The following, then on the 3rd, the Sunday, the 3rd, we are going to attempt, in lieu of our regular class, to have animal liberation and animal blessings, where you can bring your little cuddly wuddlies for a blessing. That I'm just trying to work out a place. I'm not sure that
gonna have space.
Well, I mean, we may, we might end up doing it here, but I don't know. We have to figure some things out and yeah, and if you do have an animal that tends to tinkle spontaneously, I mean, I guess I'll just take up all the carpets. We'll figure it out. So so that's on the 3rd, Sunday the 3rd. Then on Saturday the 9th, we're having a full day retreat. Yeah, thank you. From 9 to 5. It's going to be a total of 5 30-minute meditation sessions. There will be 15-minute breaks. There'll be a lunch. So we'll have
Not only meditation, we're also gonna have some talks, okay? And so a little bit of like and also discussion group. Okay, so it's a full day with all the activities as we call about developing the wisdom, the 3 types of wisdom, the study or the learning, the contemplation, and the meditation. So everything is there, which is the 3 aspects that form, let's say, as a retreat, you know? So that's where we're gonna try, so you guys can start tasting what it would be to be in a retreat outside of here. So maybe for next year, we can try to find a place so we can do a retreat.
Yeah, and what's the timing on that?
that's from 9 to 5
For
on
the full day.
Saturday the 9th.
No break?
Yeah, there will be breaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no break from here. So you're here from 9 to 5.
Okay.
So it'll be bringing and all of this will be on the website and there will be another newsletter. I just sent out something quickly about this coming Saturday so that people would have time to plan. And then on the 16th, the next Saturday is going to be Intro to Tantra from 10 to 1.
Yes. Those that already know a little bit more about Buddhism and wants to dive, deeper and understand a little bit more about what is Tantra, what is not Tantra, what kind of the benefits, how it works, what is needed in order to kind of start practicing Tantra. We're going to do a little bit of I feel it's important that we explain, especially some of you have been coming for a long time. So it's good to explain the entire path. Because normally we talk a lot about, oh yes, the Lamrim, but Tantra is also part of it. Okay.
And last thing is August 8th is Venerable Tendren's birthday. So I'm bringing a birthday card and then people can sign. If anyone wants to bring a birthday card for her, she won't be here, but I'll collect them and I'll send them with the card that I'm sending. So yes,
Wonderful.
that's it.
That's it.
That's a lot.
That's all, folks.
It is a lot.
It is a lot.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye,
Okay.
online people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable.